So there is an indicator that I've been using for the past couple of weeks, and it has been helping me so much. And I thought, why not reveal it and give it away to my subscribers, right? Before I reveal the indicator, let's talk about something. So, as an ICT student or as an ICT trader, you should be trading on the high impact news days. Why do we want to trade on the high impact news days? That is the question, right? As an ICT student or an ICT trader, you want to trade with the volatility, right? Without volatility, your targets, your draw on liquidity is not going to be hit properly, right? The overall price delivery is not going to be clean. Your PD arrays are not going to be respected. The price is going to be consolidating. It will have no destination. When there's no high impact news, right? For example, on Mondays, that's when there's no news, right? You will see mostly consolidation. You will see no volatility and your targets will not be hit. So the very first thing that you need to know is that as an ICT trader, you should be trading with the high impact news on the days when there is high impact news. All right. Now, how do you actually trade the high impact news? Because most of the people on YouTube will tell you, okay, you need to trade with high impact news. But what are the actual steps that you must take in order to, take your entry or whatnot? It's very simple. So let's assume that we are in a market maker model. So over here, we have original consolidation, right? And then we hit some PD array. Or let's assume that this is internal liquidity and this is external liquidity. I'm not going to teach external liquidity to internal liquidity in this video. I've taught that method way too many times now. It's time to learn something new. So you can, literally assume that it's external and this is internal. So once you get the market structure shift and you have your PD array marked out. So in this case, it is this fair value gap that I've marked out. Now, during the high impact news, right, your price will basically come into this PD array. During the news event, we want to see price come into this PD array. Once it does that, you can literally take your low risk entry. Now, once price goes further and further towards your draw on liquidity, right, you cannot simply take your entry from this fair value gap because most of the time you're going to get stopped out, right? You cannot take your entry from here because what can do, prices simply take out this low. So in order to avoid that, what you have to do is that in a buy program, right? So we were in a sell program here. Now, once the buy program is active, how it becomes active after a market structure shift. So let's assume that after external liquidity was taken out, you get a market structure shift. So the external was daily time frame, right? So keep this thing in mind. This is very, very important. So let's assume that this higher time frame PD array, which is the external liquidity, was on the daily time frame. Now, once it was taken out on the daily, we looked for a market structure shift on the 1 hour time frame. Now, once we got the market structure shift on the 1 hour time frame, right, during the news event, we want to see price come into our discount PD array. This could be a fair value gap or could be an auto block. During the news event, right, let's assume that this news event occurred at 8:30 a.m. New York time. You see price come into your PD array, you can literally take your entry from this level. And do not worry about getting stopped because this is how price delivers, all right? Now, once price goes up and up, right, towards your drawn liquidity, you have to look for sell side liquidity purge. So over here we have sell side liquidity. In a buy program, we want to look for a purge on this low. And when do we want to see this? During the news event. So on the 1 hour time frame, right, price is going up towards your daily internal liquidity, which is this original consolidation. Now, during the news event, on the 1 hour time frame, price swept this low. Now, once it does that, all you are basically looking for is a market structure shift on the 5-minute time frame. So once a liquidity is swept on the 1 hour time frame, you drop down to 5-minute time frame. So after the news, this is 5-minute time frame price action. You get a market structure shift on the 5-minute, and then you take your entry and you target probably this or this high over here. Similarly, you would do the same here. Once price comes into your PD array during the news event, right? You drop down to 5-minute time frame, then you look for a market structure shift, and then you target this high over here, or you can target this high over here. So this is basically how you trade the news event. Now, what if price already swept some form of liquidity, right, before the news event? Now, in this case, you would basically, once the liquidity is swept right before the news event, you would not be looking for a liquidity sweep again during the news event, because price has already swept the liquidity, right? And this is going to happen very rarely, but once it happens, you do not need to worry about it. You simply just look for a market structure shift and trade after the news event. Remember this thing. This is very important. We need to trade after the news event, okay? Not before. Your entry should be during the news event. So let me show you the real charts, and then let me reveal the indicator that's gonna reveal the news events. And with that, the trading is gonna become very, very easy for you guys. So let me show you some examples. All right, guys, before moving on to the examples, I want to talk about the Blue Guardian prop firm. Honestly, it is one of the best prop firms out there. So they offer up to 85% profit split, and the prices are very, very low. Also, they have this rapid evaluation program. You only need to pass the challenge once, meaning you only need to hit 10% once. And once you do that, you get the entire account to yourself. So there's a link down in the description. Click on it and use the code FAZSMC to get 10% off on your next purchase. All right, so here is example number one. I'm looking at GBP USD on the daily time frame, and you can see that we had this auto block here. And from this auto block, if I go down to 1 hour time frame, you can clearly see that we got a market structure shift after price came into the auto block. Now, I'm simply looking for sell side liquidity sweep during the news event. So go to indicators tab and type in news. Now the last one, live economic calendar by 2 degrees or 2 degrees, however you want to pronounce it. Click on it. This is the indicator. Now go to the settings tab here. If you're looking at GBP USD, choose GBP and USD. If you're looking at your USD, choose Euro and USD. If you're looking at AUD CAD, choose AUD and CAD. If you're looking at CHF and JPY, choose CHF and JPY. If you're looking at Euro NZD, choose Euro and NZD. You get the idea, right? And these are my settings. Only check the red one over here. That is the high impact news. Okay. Now, once you have that, perfect. Now look at it around over here. What do you see? We have this sell side liquidity in a buy program, right? This is going to be our high time frame draw on liquidity. This low resistance liquidity, right? Now, these red dots are the news events, and notice how the indicator is marking them out for you. So over here at 8 a.m. New York time, we had news event that swept sell side liquidity during the buy program. Now, once it happens, all you're doing is dropping down to 5-minute time frame. Now, over here, you can see this is the news event. Sorry, the news event was at 8:30 and the liquidity was swept. Now you're looking for a market structure shift, and it happens right here. Now we want to be buyers in the discount. So use your Fibonacci from this low to this high over here. And below the 0.5 level, look for any fair value gap. So over here, we have this fair value gap. We're not going to take our entry from extreme because we can miss entries, right? So take the entry from here and put your stop right below here to be on the safe side. Now, if I remove this, you can see our entry is at 10:15. So that is perfect. Make sure your entries are always during kills on ours. And I would be targeting these equal highs. Oops, these equal highs over here. And let's see how this plays out. Going to a higher time frame to speed things up. And just around here, okay, we never hit the take profit level. Let's see. And there you go. The take profit was hit on the next day. Let's move on to another example now. All right, so here is another example, and this time I'm going to show you an example where the liquidity was already swept before the news event and how you would trade it. So over here we have the daily auto block right here, and price came into the auto block. So let's drop down to 1 hour time frame, and we want to look for a market structure shift here. Now once we got the market structure shift over here, you can see price came into the auto block. I'm looking for liquidity sweep during the news event or before it, right? So we have a news event here, right? And notice what happens before the news event. So if I mark this low here, you can see the previous candle already swept this low over here. Now, if I drop down to 5-minute time frame, you can clearly see that the news event starts at 8:30, but before that, price already swept liquidity. So in this case, you can literally take your entry, right? If price is in some form of PD array. So over here, what do we have? We have this breaker block here, right? And price goes again into this breaker block during the news event, right? And from here onwards, what it does, it pushes back up to the original consolidation, which would have been this. Now, of course, this is hindsight, but the purpose of this video is to show you that on the high impact news days, your targets are going to be hit cleanly. So you can see that this was a beautiful price delivery, right? And the PD array was respected, right? And you had like a complete roadmap that you could follow. Let me show you guys another example. All right, guys, so here is the last example looking at NAS 100 on the daily time frame, and you can see that we came into the daily internal range liquidity, and over here we have external range liquidity. So now if I go to the 1 hour time frame, you can see that we had a market structure shift here, and if I turn on the indicator, you can see that we had liquidity sweep here. So this red dot is when we got the liquidity sweep, and over here we have these equal lows here. So this is the low, and if I drop down to 5-minute time frame, you're gonna see that this candle was the news event candle, and we swept liquidity, right? Now once the liquidity was swept, we looked for a market structure shift. So we had a shift in the structure here, and we also had a shift in the structure here. So this is going to be our breaker block, actually using the body here. And you can see we had another news event at 10, and you can see the beautiful price delivery. So this was our entry here, right? And this is our like higher time frame draw on liquidity, and you can clearly see that it was hit perfectly. If I zoom in a bit, you can see right here with this wick. So that would be it for this video, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Please hit the subscribe button. Let's get to 100K subscribers. I'll see you guys in a couple of days. Goodbye.